We're on the record in cause number 328468, the state of Texas versus Esteban Avalos Jr. Would you come forward, sir? Your full name is Esteban Avalos Jr.?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Avalos?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Mr. Avalos. The information in this case alleges that on or about August 23rd of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of unlawfully carrying a weapon. Mr. Avalos, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Avalos, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you're guilty?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Avalos, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Mr. Avalos, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
You do? Okay. Now, Mr. Avalos, on page 2 of the same document, must have missed the spot. Right here, he
Yeah.
started, something must have happened. I don't know what happened.
If he hit the button, it could
Yeah.
have messed it up.
So then you want to initial right there, it messed up. So I'm gonna remove. Just be careful not to hit the button on the side and initial.
Oh, initial?
Yeah,
Is it an initial or?
initial.
Yeah.
I have to put a check on it.
Oh, okay. Here, let me
You wanna
erase the
erase it?
check. Yeah. There we go.
Oh, he did the same thing. He just checked this here. Giving this here back too. On that, where it says extra, he just put a check mark down there. He was supposed to put his initials on that one too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Check.
Scratch out the check. and put it in. Oh, or that one.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Avalos, I have on page 2 of this same document, there are 2 sets of initials. The first set of initials, EA, or on a line, well, is on a line, next to a box that is checked guilty. The second set of initials is on a line that states, I do not request discovery of the evidence. I waive my right to request discovery in this case and choose to enter a plea of guilty or no contest. Now, initials on this line is also EA. Mr. Avalos, you place your initials on this document.
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, Mr. Avalos, there's a signature at the top above the line that says defendant. Mr. Avalos, is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, Mr. Avalos, this document is titled Trial Court's Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Mr. Avalos, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to appeal, which means that you are giving up your right to an appeal. Did you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Mr. Avalos, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Avalos, I also have 2 documents here. The first document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defender Without an Attorney. There's 1 box that's checked at the bottom of this document is a signature also. The box that's checked and have your initials states that I want to waive my right to attorney and represent myself. Is that your,
Yes, sir.
are these your initials?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature at the bottom of this document?
Yes, sir.
Also, I have another document. This document is titled waiver of counsel for purposes of entering a guilty plea or proceeding to trial. Mr. Avalos, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that says defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Avalos, prior to signing and initialing these documents,
Yes, sir.
did you have an opportunity to review the documents?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I noticed on the page that's in your right hand,
This one?
yes, look, it says four
Oh, he
day
put
of four.
4 day, 4 of, okay.
Yeah, it just needs to have May.
Yeah, he missed that. It's supposed to be, you're right, the month. He put the day.
Just put May
Shit is May.
right there.
Thank you.
No problem. I happened to see it when you held it.
Yeah.
up. Oh, no, it didn't. This was right, so scratch out May.
Oh.
The 4 day of May.
Yeah.
I think that's what it says.
Mhm. There you
Okay. Now, Mr. Avalos. Let me get this here. Prior to signing and initialing these documents,
Yes, sir.
did you have an opportunity to review the documents?
Yes, sir.
And did you read the documents?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand what you read?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
go. Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Avalos, the state is offering State's Exhibit number 1. State's Exhibit number 1 is the document that have your initials on page 2 and your signature at the top of page 3. The state would like to use this document as evidence against you in your case. Is it all right for the state to use this document as evidence in your case?
Yes, sir.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Avalos, is there any evidence that you are currently mentally incompetent to stand trial? Do you have any mental issue? Are you mentally
Oh,
ill?
like mental?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Avalos, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, it's for 15 months deferred probation, a $500 fine, 80 hours community service, and forfeiture of the weapon, and I have for the court the motion to forfeit in this case.
Okay.
And did I say anger management when I said it?
No, you didn't say anything.
Okay, and anger management.
Okay, but no, she just didn't say, okay.
Yeah, I put it on the paperwork, I just didn't say it.
So, and anger management as well, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Avalos, the state is offering that you serve 15 months of deferred adjudicated probation. During the 15-month adjudicated probationary period, you will be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs. The court cost is $292. So that comes to a total of fine and court costs of $792. You will also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. And this will come to a total of monthly installments of $135 a month. Mr. Avalos, would you be able to pay the $135 per month?
For 15 months,
Yes.
135, you can't bring it down a little bit?
Oh, so you're not able to pay the $135 per month. Is that correct? That's what you're saying?
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now let's do this here. Mr. Avalos,
So how much is that in total?
it's the total is let me do it again. you have to pay a fine of $500 a month, not month, $500 fine,
Fine, yeah.
plus the court costs of $292, which comes to a total fine and court costs of $792. And you would have to pay probation fees of $60 each month and a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. And when you total all of this up and divide it by the number of months that you're on probation, it comes out to be $135 per month.
Per month.
Yes.
So like January, I gotta pay 135, and February.
Each
another
month is
135.
135,
And how much is that for 15 years in total?
not 15
I
years.
mean, 15 months.
I mean, whatever it adds up, I mean, I can add it up, but I mean,
How much?
2025,
2025,
yeah. That's over a 15-month period,
15 month period.
right? You just paying it in installments of $135 per month.
All right, that's fine.
You'll be able to pay that,
That's
okay.
fine.
Now, you will also be required to perform 80 hours of community service. And you would have to attend the anger management class, and you'd have to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. Now, you will also be forfeiting a weapon, and I have a motion to forfeit the weapon. And Mr. Avalos, I'm gonna show you the motion to forfeit the weapon. Mr. Avalos, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is that your signature above the line that says defendant?
Yes, sir.
And prior to signing and initialing this document, did you have an opportunity to read the document?
Yes, sir.
And did you read the document?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand what you read?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Mr. Avalos, I'm going to sign this order.
You think I get a copy of all these papers?
You probably have to go to the clerk's office to do that. And if you're on probation, your probation office, would have, you're gonna get copies of the probation order in here. Okay, so the court is granting the order to forfeit the weapon. Also attached to that is an inventory. Now, Mr. Avalos, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Avalos, I will follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Avalos, if you successfully complete the probation in this case, because you're on deferred adjudicated probation, this case will be dismissed. It would not appear on your record as a conviction, and you may qualify for a non-disclosure. And you can talk to an attorney about how you can go about getting a non-disclosure.
What is that?
It's called a non-disclosure. You can talk to an attorney about that, how you can go about getting a non-disclosure. All right. Now, Mr. Avalos, please stand on the X in front of the court clerk, follow her directions, and once she finishes with you, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, you too.
Okay, you're welcome.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear that you have never been convicted or been
The court is back on the record in the court of Raymond docket. At this time, we're going to call cases of individuals who has not appeared and who actually was sent notice. First case we have is cause number 320178. The case is styled the State of Texas versus Xavier Rashawn Barnes. Mr. Xavier Barnes was scheduled to be in court for the court's arraignment docket at 9 a.m. on today's date of May 4th, 2021. At or about 9 a.m., the bailiff called Mr. Xavier Barnes' name at the courthouse door. Mr. Barnes did not answer. And the time now is 11:34 a.m. on today's day. Mr. Bailiff, will you please call the name of Xavier Barnes?
No response, Your Honor.
Xavier Barnes' name was called again by the court's bailiff. Mr. Barnes did not answer. Mr. Barnes has not appeared in court since the court's been in session since 9 a.m. A reasonable time has passed to give Mr. Barnes an opportunity to appear in court. He has not appeared. Therefore, his bond will be forfeited. State, do you have any objections?
No, Your Honor.
Xavier Barnes' bond in cause number 320178 will be forfeited, and a warrant shall be issued for his arrest. And this will conclude the calling of the court's arraignment docket on today's day. And the time now is 11:35 a.m. and today's date is May 4th, 2021. County Court at Law Number 2, Jefferson County, Texas. Judge Terrence L. Holmes presiding.